giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings unto the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. This is Brother Taza Pie here with your daily lunch special. And today we're coming out of the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16, speaking about the M.O.T.B. All right. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And this is what we refer to as the M.O.T.B. All right, which is the acronym for what I just read about. This mark that belongeth to the beast. All right. Verse 17 says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. So I'm bringing this out in light of what's been taking place in Vietnam. I want to say 86,000 Vietnamese bank accounts were frozen. All right. All in order to force them into the paradigm of this new digital system. All right. To force them into the CBDCs and the cryptocurrency. All right. Well, that's a beta test for what the elite want to do around the world. All right. And this is what they do. All right. You seen in the 2020 Pandeezy, China was the beta test for that. And then the narrative came out, oh, it's a bat, you know, the wet market, and a bat mixed with something else, and, you know, but they was telling you that it came out of China. All right, well, because China was the testing grounds for that COVID-19 or -19. All right. So now we see in Vietnam, they're the control study or the test group for the CBDC system, and it going online, going active. All right. So pay very special attention to what's going on in Vietnam. All right. This is their modus operandi. All right, I'm going to let you look at this video and get right into it.
Absolutely frightening, but I also want to bring up if we could see tie-ins to what's happening in Vietnam, which I feel is not getting enough press. Vietnam's mandatory biometric...
And she's right, because they don't want it to get any press. They do not, the elite, all right? The people that really call the shots, the true movers and shakers. They don't want you to know. They want to spring the trap on you. That's why they got the Diddy trial. They got the CK, Calvin Klein situation going on. They got all of this. Oh, and we're in the World Series playoffs. Football season is starting, or in its preseason. Well, football is in its preseason. And basketball soon to kick off. You know, so they got you covered, and I just named a few of the distractions, but they got you covered, you know, and they not stopping with the CK. And I said that they just want to take you down these rabbit holes, and now he's AI and he's a hologram, which I mean, it could be. It could be. If you in this truth, why you give a fuck? But you should be giving a fuck about, you know, these frozen bank accounts, because we don't even have an option no more. But you used to could go to the bank, cash your check, let me hold 2, put the other 8 in my account, or let me hold 5, put the other 5 in my savings. Now your shit goes straight to the bank account. All right, so if they freeze your bank account, you have no funds. Zero. Most people don't even deal with cash. They don't carry cash. And how many people here in America are paying attention to what's happening in Vietnam? All right, so if that was to happen in America, I'm estimating at least 60%, all right, and that's at least 60% of account holders with money in the bank is going to be, just caught off guard. They're going to be devastated. And you got a small percentage of people that are paying attention, all right? And they're managing their assets wisely, all right? They're diversifying their portfolio, getting out of the U.S. dollar completely. Well, I don't mean, I'm saying diversify, all right? Not ditching the dollar completely, but using those dollars to accumulate things of worth. All right. I don't have anything to accumulate nothing with. All right. So, I'm storing up my treasures in heaven. All right. I'm diversifying my portfolio in faith and with faith. All right. But check this out.
These led to, as I said in my intro, 86 million bank accounts being frozen or erased, framed as a security measure.
I said 86,000. And that's a lot. So in actuality, it is 86 million Vietnamese bank accounts that were frozen. There's Jake over there too. I know they didn't hit some Jake, but predominantly, 86 million. More than Vietnamese got touched by that. All right. But, there's Jake all over the world. We in the four corners of the globe. So, it ain't strictly Vietnamese, but this took place or is taking place in Vietnam. 86 million bank accounts. All right, this is the end game. Y'all got to know what time it is.
Is this a testing ground for centralized digital control, do you think, Jim? And is the Genius Act going to pave the way for that to happen here?
Possibly. I think that as far as Vietnam is concerned, people forget they are communists. I know there's a prosperous economy and we're investing. I get all that. But they're still communists. Let's not forget who communists are. But yeah, it's a trial run. I mean, I've warned about central bank digital currencies for years. They're all of these things, Danielle, they're sold on the basis of convenience. It's better, faster, cheaper. Credit cards are clunky, 2.5% fees. Get me a central bank digital currency. We can have our own account at the Fed on our iPhones, and I can send money to you. It's like Venmo with Venmo on the Fed wire, right? Except that they've got all your data. They know what books you're buying. They know what religion you are. They know what groups you contribute to. They know what political party you are. And when they want to profile you, seize your money and shut down your accounts, debanking, when that's going on, it's very easy to do. So, or just confiscate your money. So, which the U.S. is doing to the Russians. This is all happening all around us, and you're right about Vietnam. But we've seen it elsewhere. It happened in Cyprus in 2015. It's happened, over and over again. Yeah, get ready.
When you want your earnings to add up to more, the U.S. Bank Smartly Suite works for you. With checking, saving...
It's happened, over and over again. Yeah, get ready.
Well, I guess this is my question, because the narrative was, oh, no, we made it, we signed that, central bank digital currencies cannot be pushed forward. But this is just... I think I had another guest on once who put it beautifully that it's just a magic trick. Like, gone are the central bank digital currencies, but they're just ushered in under disguise. And that's what it feels like to me, Jim.
Well, I think you're right. First of all, you're correct that Trump issued orders saying you can't have a central bank digital currency, but the research, the R&D continues. They continue to develop it at the bank level, so bank to bank, B of A to Citi or Citi to Morgan, Morgan Stanley, et cetera. That's going on. So do you and I have central bank digital currencies? No. But behind the curtain, the bank to bank blockchain transfer system is still being developed so that when Trump won't be president forever and MAGA won't be dominant forever, when the time comes to impose this, it'll be very easy to do because they're continuing the R&D.
I guess my question I'm sure people are wondering this at home, Jim, because you gave so much incredible information, is if we're forced to be in a digital dollar of, it's backed by stable coin of whatever, we run the risk that our accounts and our money can be frozen, that we lose that control.
Well, yes, but not just the risk. It's going to happen. Show me a market where it didn't happen eventually. I mean, I can... they studied the history of financial panics. There were some in the mid-14th century, in the 1350s. The two biggest banks in Milan were the House of Bardi and the House of Peruzzi, and they both Florence rather, sorry, and they both froze up. It was we kind of played right into the Black Death. My point being, these things always happen. They will continue to happen. What's new is that it's digital. It's bigger, faster. AI plays a role because people are using AI to program their actions, so the redemption will be just like that.
Right.
So what happens? Silicon Valley Bank, one tech billionaire gets on his iPhone or her iPhone and says, get my money out of Silicon Bank. Boom, send, and then calls his friend and says, get your money out fast. This was happening at the speed of light. It's a cliche, but it was the speed of light.
Well, do you think that there should be a greater revolt against the Genius Act then? Are people get what's happening?
People don't understand what's happening. Everything I just described to you and that you and I talked about is not part of the narrative. The narrative is, hey, it's all good, So no, people don't understand what's happening. They should. I've been writing about it and speaking about it.
Yeah, no, I know.
If you want to boil it down, you can go on at length, but if you want to boil it down, stable coins are unregulated money market funds. Money market funds that were regulated froze up and were bailed out in 2008. What do you think is going to happen to an unregulated money market fund where we don't even know what's going on inside? We don't even know what they own. They're not audited.
So is there anything, I know I always ask this, what can we do to fight back? What can we do?
Yep. Well, first of all, everything we just talked about has the backing of the Trump White House. So, and Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, I think Scott Bessent's on board, et cetera. So, not much we can do in Washington. What can we do personally? Yeah, get some physical gold. I've always recommended 10%. Have cash in the form of high quality bank deposits, not stable coin. Don't think of stable coins as cash, but real cash. And that can be treasury bills in a brokerage account or a bank account. Those actually are regulated. They are, up to $250,000. They're guaranteed by the FDIC. But with not much work, you can get up to millions of dollars of cash, all guaranteed by the FDIC, because the husband and wife can have multiple accounts. You can go to 5 different banks. There's a little paperwork involved, but it's not hard to get, $4 or $5 million in FDIC insured deposits, and that'll be fine. And other hard assets, real estate, et cetera.
How do you, as I know, I brought this up. You were a supporter of President Donald Trump.
Yes.
But you are critical. Is it a correct statement to say that you are against the Genius Act?
Yeah, I mean, I voted for Trump. I forget how many times, because I live in New Hampshire, so I voted in the primary. So I voted for Trump like 6 times. Like, he ran 3 times. I voted, So yeah, I'm a big supporter of President Trump, and I have a lot of good things to say about a lot of his policies. But I'm also an analyst. I don't fall in line behind the narrative just because I like one party or another, and I've been very critical of certain Trump policies, and this is one of them. Central banks have been net buyers of gold since 2010. That buying has increased. That's mainly a reaction to the fact that the U.S. has weaponized the dollar and is using it for economic sanctions. Now, one of the things that helped Russia, there have been over 200 separate U.S. economic sanctions imposed on Russia by the United States. There have been 19 sanctions packages, each package of which includes numerous sanctions imposed by the EU on Russia, all because of the war in Ukraine. They have all failed. All of these sanctions have failed. The Russian economy is outperforming the U.S. economy. The Russian ruble is stable against the U.S. dollar. But why? Why has Russia been able to power through it? Well, a lot of reasons. One of them is that all of their trading partners never joined the sanctions. India, China.
This is the fastest cashier I know. And he gets down. Fast. He don't play.
Brazil, Venezuela, South Asia. None of these countries joined in the sanctions, so Russia's doing fine. All the sanctions have failed. But if you're any of those countries, if you're Saudi Arabia or Russia or China, and you look at the United States, say, hey, these guys have weaponized the dollar. The United States is in the process, the United States and NATO, I should say, are in the process of stealing $300 billion of Treasury securities from Russia. Russia sold oil legitimately, got dollars legitimately, bought U.S. Treasury securities legitimately, put them in a custodian in Europe called Euroclear, and now there's about $300 billion there, and now the U.S. is stealing that money. So if you're any trading partner, I'll include allies like Japan, you're like, hey, hold on, what if the U.S. doesn't like what I do? What if in some future struggle the U.S. decides to steal my U.S. Treasury securities? You better get gold. And by the way, this is why Russia has been able to survive, in part because Vera Nabiullina, who's the head of the Central Bank of Russia, and I say she's the only central bank in the world who actually understands her job, seriously, she put over $150 billion, 25% of Russia's reserve position in gold bullion. Bars, basically, gold bars. So it insulated Russia to a greater extent because you can't seize the bullion. I mean, you have to invade Moscow. They're not going to do that. But if you have physical custody of physical gold, it's not digital. It's easy to, you can't seize it, basically. You can't interdict it. It doesn't go through SWIFT. It doesn't go over FedWire. It's just there, and you can't take it. And so that's why central banks are buying gold. But that does not alter the fact that they also have very large treasury positions. So both things are true. Danielle, you're right, the central banks are buying more gold. You're right about that. But it's not true that they're dumping treasuries. They're holding onto their treasuries. Basically, the reserves are increasing. So yeah, if you run a trade surplus and your reserves increase, this would be Japan, South Korea, China, and others, Taiwan. You got to buy something, and they're buying treasuries, and on that they're buying gold. You're right, but they are.
All right, so I want y'all to hear that, because I was under the impression as well, that countries was dumping their, or looking to get rid of their treasuries, all right? But he said that they're not, and that the market is growing and people are looking to buy into treasuries. And I just thought, well, that doesn't make sense. Because the dollar is dead, but then I'm thinking, okay, no, they're investing into the new system. Obviously. All right, they got to be buying treasuries, looking to capitalize on this new system that's coming, all right? And that brings us back to Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great. All right? Rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right, and that mark is a micro CHIP that is going to be inserted into either your right hand or in your forehead or in your head. This ain't far-fetched, because these things already exist. And people already have them. I did a video a few weeks back showing that. All right? But now that's all we're waiting for, is for this financial system to kick in. The mark is here. The system supporting the mark is also here, but it just needs to go into effect. When that financial system goes into effect, that's the mandate that we've been speaking on and waiting for. All right, when we say we're just waiting for it to be mandated and made mandatory, Well, that's when your bank account is frozen, that's when you know it's mandatory. All right? And frozen bank accounts are coming. All right? This is how he's going to cause all. One of the many ways he's going to cause all. All right? Everything is going to this digital cyber system. And the only way you can be a part of it is if you allow them to assimilate you technically into this digital system by way of a microchip. All right? So this is what's coming. I just wanted to bring that out to keep everybody up. You know, yeah, prepare. And you can't prepare with money. You can't prepare with gold. Again, as I stated, store up your treasures in heaven by way of good works. Didn't John the Baptist say, bring forth fruits, meat for repentance? All right. Ephesians the 5th chapter told us to redeem the times because the days are evil. All right. Invest in good works. Redeem all the time of them wicked works. When you invested in wickedness, repent and invest in righteousness. All right. And that's the lesson for today. I pray that you was edified to the next one. Shalom.